Mending Fractured Bonds, Part 4. Brent sat alone in the empty classroom long after Eric had left, his hands trembling. He felt the shame of what he had done suffocate him, the weight of Eric's pain crushing his chest. Eric's voice, so raw and filled with heartbreak, echoed in his mind. "You hurt me, Brent. You betrayed me." Brent knew there was no undoing the past, no way to erase the damage caused by that cruel night. But deep inside, he couldn't accept that this was the end of their story. He couldn't let Eric believe that his feelings didn't matter, that his confession of love had been a punchline in someone else's joke. The next morning, Brent waited by the lockers, determined to try again. He rehearsed what he'd say 1,000 times in his head, each version sounding worse than the last. When Eric finally appeared, his usual confident stride faltered as he caught sight of Brent. His eyes narrowed, his lips pressing into a thin line. "What do you want?" Eric said coldly, not breaking his stride. "Please, just hear me out," Brent pleaded, stepping in front of him. "I have nothing to say to you." Eric's voice was calm, but the storm brewing in his eyes was unmistakable. "I know I don't deserve your forgiveness," Brent said quickly, his words tumbling out in desperation. "But I need you to know that I'm sorry. Not just for that night, but for everything. I never wanted to hurt you, Eric. I swear." Eric's jaw tightened, his hands curling into fists at his sides. "Sorry doesn't change anything, Brent. It doesn't erase what you did." Brent nodded, his own voice cracking. I know it doesn't. But you were my best friend, Eric. You still are, even if you hate me now. I miss you. I miss us." Eric's expression flickered for just a moment, the hurt surfacing beneath his anger. "Us?" he repeated bitterly. "There's no us, Brent. Not anymore." Before Brent could respond, Eric pushed past him, leaving him standing there with his heart in his throat. Brent found himself unable to let it go. The following days were filled with sleepless nights and failed attempts to figure out how to reach Eric. He avoided Charlie and his old friends, their laughter now a cruel reminder of the part they had played in breaking Eric's heart. On Friday, Brent made his way to the rooftop after school, the place where it had all gone wrong. The cool breeze swept through the empty space, carrying with it the echoes of the past. He leaned against the railing, staring at the city skyline, lost in thought. "Is this your idea of an apology?" The voice startled him, and he spun around to see Eric standing in the doorway, arms crossed and eyes blazing. Brent straightened, his chest tightening. "Eric, Don't," Eric interrupted, stepping closer. "I don't want your apologies, Brent. I want to know why. Why you let them do that to me. Why you didn't stop it. Why you stood there and let me pour my heart out, only to laugh at me." Brent shook his head, his voice trembling. "I wasn't laughing. I swear, Eric, I wasn't. I didn't know what they were planning, not really. I thought it was just a harmless prank. I was stupid. I didn't think about how much it would hurt you." Eric's eyes softened for a brief moment before hardening again. "You knew I loved you, Brent. You knew, and you still let it happen. Do you have any idea how humiliating that was? How much it destroyed me?" Brent swallowed hard, tears burning in his eyes. "I was scared," he admitted. "Scared of what it meant. Of how I felt about you. I thought that if I ignored it, if I pretended it wasn't real, it would go away. But it didn't." Eric froze, his eyes widening slightly. "What are you saying?" Brent took a shaky breath, his heart pounding in his chest. "I'm saying that I messed up because I was a coward. I was scared of losing you, but I ended up doing exactly that. And I don't know if I can fix it, but I want to try. I need to try." Eric stared at him, his expression unreadable. For a long moment, the only sound was the wind whistling through the rooftop. "I don't know if I can ever trust you again," Eric said quietly, his voice heavy with emotion. Brent nodded, his throat tight. "I'll wait as long as it takes. Please don't shut me out completely." Eric didn't respond. Instead, he turned and walked away, leaving Brent standing alone once again. Despite Eric's words, Brent refused to give up. He kept his distance, but as he did when he first saw Eric again, he found small ways to show that he cared, helping Eric with his notes, saving a spot for him in the cafeteria, even leaving anonymous notes in his locker with simple messages like "You're not alone and I'm sorry." Eric didn't acknowledge the notes, but he didn't throw them away either. Brent took it as a small victory. One afternoon, as they worked on their history project in strange silence, Eric finally broke the tension. "Why are you doing this?" he asked, not looking up from the paper in front of him. Brent hesitated. "Because I care about you," he said honestly. "And because I know I don't deserve it, but I hope one day you'll give me another chance." Eric's pen hovered over the page, his expression conflicted. I don't know if I can, he admitted softly. Brent nodded, his heart aching. I understand. But I'll keep trying, Eric. Because you're worth it. For the first time, Eric looked at him, not with anger, but with something closer to vulnerability. It wasn't forgiveness, not yet, but it was a start. And for Brent, that was enough.